6:30, tempers explode and fists fly on a busy local freeway. Good evening, I'm Micah Ullman. We begin here at 6:30 with that brutal fight on the 405 freeway that happened right in the middle of rush hour. KTLA's Christina Pascucci with us live tonight from Huntington Beach with details on what is now a road rage investigation. Christina.
That's right. Good evening, Micah. It all started yesterday afternoon around 4:30. It started on the 605 freeway. These two guys took it to the 105, and then it ended here on the 405 South freeway by the exit Beach Boulevard in Huntington Beach. So it spanned 3 freeways. This alleged road rage lasted for nearly an hour start to finish, and in the end, one man is behind bars.
You're the one that beat first.
It was a full-on brawl on the 405 freeway during rush hour. It involved a truck driver and a celebrity bodyguard who's reportedly worked for the likes of Jack Nicholson and Ringo Starr. But now Richard Brunn was protecting his own life. CHP says it was road rage at its worst, and it started 10 miles away on the 605 freeway.
A driver of a semi-truck tractor threw an unknown object at his vehicle.
CHP says the two men followed each other as the 605 merged onto the 405. Brunn told police he pulled over and got out of his car by Beach Boulevard on the 405 South after the truck driver, 40-year-old Denny Saavedra, allegedly waved a lead pipe at him and threatened him.
The confrontation did begin as a verbal confrontation. Unfortunately, it did escalate to a physical confrontation.
Officers say Saavedra hit Brunn with that metal pipe and Brunn fought back. The two exchanged punches. At one point, Brunn tried to pin Saavedra down as the cops made their way to the scene. Finally, the CHP arrived and took away Saavedra in handcuffs on suspicion of assault with a deadly weapon. Brunn suffers cuts and bruises but is otherwise okay.
Both parties involved are lucky that it didn't turn out worse.
And as you mentioned, Mike, it was during rush hour, so the freeway was already busy, but then this compounded the problem because this partially blocked the 405 freeway here. And tonight, Denny Saavedra, he does remain in custody. His bail is set at $25,000. In Huntington Beach, Christina Pascucci, KTLA 5 News.
A case of apparent road rage caught on camera has a couple in North Carolina facing serious charges. They're in court today. But the cell phone video that captured the confrontation is raising questions about who really started this. Trace Gallagher live in our West Coast Bureau. Trace.
Suspect's name is Bradley Turner, Megan. He was driving with his wife and young daughter in Newport, North Carolina, and he claims a pickup truck cut him off. So he followed that pickup truck for 40 minutes, all the way back to the truck driver's house. And that's when a girl in the back seat of the truck began videotaping. It picks up here with Bradley Turner getting out of the car, walking over, and watch him go in. He starts the fight, punching the guy in the car. The two kids in the truck get out, and you can clearly see they are getting the better of Bradley Turner. They begin to punch him, breaking his nose, knocking him to the ground. Now watch, because the wife comes around. She hands her husband a gun. Listen now, because the gun discharges. He then points the gun at the two guys. The two kids stay in the truck. Bradley Turner gets back in his car, and he drives off. That's where the videotape ends, but not where the story ends, because apparently he drove off, and then he drove back toward the boys in the truck, and they pick it up from here. Listen.
When we walked back outside, we saw him drive by and pull into a road just past his house. And he turns back coming eastbound on a westbound lane on the oncoming traffic. So we knew he was coming back to his house. So we went inside and he pulled in the yard and shot my truck up, and that's when we called 911.
Fired at the truck. You can see the bullet holes there. Nobody was hurt by the gunfire. That man and his wife facing a number of different charges, Megan.
Unbelievable, Trace. Thank you. Joining me now to discuss it, John Spilborn, former prosecutor, now defense attorney, and David Wohl, who is a defense attorney. That man, Mr. Turner, and his wife facing multiple assault charges, Jonna. He claims that he got cut off. He did go over, it looked like he threw the first punch from that video, but does it matter if this guy endangered him, his wife, and his young daughter in the back of his truck on the road?
Megan, this guy followed that truck full of kids, they're young people, for 40 minutes. Come on, that's plenty of time to cool down. I am surprised that they didn't charge him with attempted murder because the gun went off after he followed them for 40 minutes and got out of the truck. And clearly, look, you follow somebody for that long, Megan, you're not looking for an apology. Hey, kids, slow it down. That's not what you're looking for. These kids knew that somebody was going to get hurt. This guy should be charged with even more.
Why didn't they charge him with attempted murder when he's firing a gun at them as they're running away, David?
Well, Megan, from his perspective, these kids tried to run him off the road. That was his initial statement. I don't know whether it was just simply cutting him off or it was an assault with a deadly weapon. If he reasonably perceives that the kids are assaulting him, his wife, and his small child with a deadly weapon, then he can use deadly force in response. Now, the question is, when does the threat from the kids mitigate? I mean, they go back to a house, and he comes over and confronts them, yes, and maybe it should have ended there. But then they viciously attack him 2-on-1 and could have
They viciously attack him? Can we cue up the video again?
They could have killed him. Then his wife gets the gun.
Wait.
And it doesn't.
Wait.
One of the kids says
Watch.
the gun at that
Here he
point
is. Who throws the first
accidentally
punch?
discharges. Right.
Yes, they viciously
so
attacked
Megan,
him
the
after he
question is,
attacked
when does
them.
the threat start and when does it mitigate? It's a confusing case, a great law school hypothetical, but I don't think he should be charged with assault with a deadly weapon, given the circumstances.
This is
of this case.
I love my Kelly's Court panels, but this is what lawyers do. They brutally attacked him right after he brutally attacked them, which is a defense in court. I'm going to show you this again. We're going to watch this one more time. All right, Jonna, so let me give it back to you, because even though nobody believes that they attacked him brutally first, as David seemed to be implicating, force has to be proportionate to the force being used. And could these two be in trouble? Could this guy go into court today, he's in court today, and say, I misbehaved, I was out of control, I shouldn't have followed them, and I shouldn't have thrown that punch, but what they did to me, watch this video, Your Honor, was out of line.
So it is true that the burden of self-defense, so to speak, can shift during a fight. That's true that can happen. But here, you got to look at the totality of the circumstances. First, the defendant says, I'm going to kill you. Then he continues to follow them for 40 minutes. I would have thought, if I were in that truck driving, that he's going to make good on his threat. Then he walks over to the vehicle, punches the driver square in the nose. It's game on at that point. And even if the burden shifted, Megan, when his wife casually walks out of the car and hands him a gun like it's a pack of gum, like, hey, baby, here's a deadly weapon for you. I'll be breastfeeding Junior in the back seat. It was completely game on. These guys, the two victims, are totally self-defense. They should not be charged with anything.
Well, and by the way, we don't know whether that gun was ever loaded. Maybe, he knew it was not loaded and it discharged accidentally, or he did that on purpose and not knowing it was loaded. So that's probably not why no attempted murder charges, David. But, I mean, is it that guy with the black eye? And by the way, the kid, the driver victim said on camera, the guy said he'd kill me, but then he told a different story to a local reporter saying he said he was going to kick my A. Yeah. I'm not saying that they have to be perfectly consistent, but that's what the defense lawyer is going to bring up, David.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a big difference between a punch and getting killed. And, Megan, the problem with this case is I think the only thing outside mutual combat, which isn't a criminal charge, is when Bradley goes at the end and then fires the weapon into an unoccupied vehicle, which is a criminal charge. I don't think he's got any defense to that one. But this one,
that's the problem, because even if he didn't have bullets
de-escalates.
in it when he first fired it, he wound up finding his bullets because he went back and he shot up the kid's car.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a problem for him.
Yeah, and while he did it, the kid was on the phone with 911 saying he drove away, he came back, we ran into the house, he fired shots in the yard, and now he's out there driving back and forth. And these kids were scared, and this driver was out of line. Take your road rage to the side.
Take a deep breath, everyone.
Somebody cuts you off, you just do what I do. It irritates me so much more than that behavior.
They're looking for an autograph from you, Megan. That's why.
Maybe not that behavior. All right, you guys, thank you. We'll be right back.
Thank you, Megan.
Tom Parsi has two cameras mounted on his car, one in the front and one on his back window. They capture every minute of his drives around San Diego, and what it captured on his last one showed the anger one driver felt. The video from Parsi's camera Friday shows him traveling north on Ingram in PB. All seems normal until he tries to get in front of that black Ford truck.
Well, all of a sudden he climbs right up my butt, slams on the horn, slams on his brakes, and then we keep going, and I figured, okay, that's all he's going to do.
Driver and passenger were not done yet. About a half a block later,
And I hear something ding, like a nut falling out of a tree hitting my car. And I'm going, what was that? You know, and a few seconds later, I hear another one.
The video shows the driver throwing coins at Parisi's car, not once, but twice. And then this. Watch as a woman gets out of the car and walks over and takes a picture of his license plate. And then...
Let's kill my dog! Let's kill...
Parisi's wasn't afraid, more concerned of what the woman would do next.
I was attacked. She came in right away and instantly it was confrontational and attacking.
We tracked down the owner of the car, but no one was home, and we asked Parisi's if he felt like he had done anything wrong.
Not like I drove you off the road, not like I cut you off.
Police have not contacted him, and he has not gone to them. Instead, he went home and posted the video on YouTube, hoping that it would show other drivers what not to do.
Because the next time they could hurt someone, or they could themselves get hurt, you know, and there's no need for that.
Ashley DiMartino, 10 News.